Hey. How is my favorite peoples? Oh, let us open up with a moment of silence for the addict who still suffer inside and outside of the walls. Cut this fan down. Okay, y'all. I hope everybody is having a good time and has been clean and doing what they supposed to be doing and ain't been feeling the best. But I got to continue to go on no matter what happens. Anyway, hi. How you doing? Just got back from seeing my nephew in jail, and I uplifted his spirits, and we played some cards, and I'm just so grateful that I was able to go there and come back safely in time to get back on my life. Okay, I want to give a shout out to the treatment facilities, to the God of my understanding. I thank you. Thank you for everyone that's been supportive. Thank you for everyone that I blessed or helped or touched in some kind of way. Thank you for the treatment facilities. Y'all doing a beautiful job. I know it's not easy for you all too. And one thing that I do love about you all is that, you know, some of you all are recovering too. So I thank y'all for that. Thank you for the group homes, the women's support group, the men's support group, the treatment facilities, the inpatient, the outpatient. Thank you for the work that you do to help people get their lives back on track. You know, and tonight, you know, we're talking about addiction, understanding this disease. And God knows I hate this disease because I say it all the time. I hate this disease of Narcotics Anonymous. You know, I hate all the drugs and anything that alters your mood and take you to places that you never been, go through the things that you go through. But I do love the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous. I love the program. I love the traditions. I love the 12 principles. I love everything that I come up on and read. But tonight I wanted to talk about that long drive gave me something to talk about, understanding the disease of an addiction and forgiveness. You know, because many times when we come into recovery, thank you, God, many times when we come into recovery, the most things that I see that people deal with is learning how to forgive and understand and forgive themselves. Because when we come into treatment, you know, when we come into treatment, we are also learning how to forgive ourselves. And you know, to forgive yourself for the damage that we've done to ourselves and all the bottomless pits we've been in, you know, that's the hardest thing for us to deal with recovery, then also deal with forgiving ourselves, and also deal with people's forgiving us for what we have done in our active addiction. You know, and I know for a fact that when we came into treatment, when I remember going into treatment, you must get in the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous. They tell you right up front. They tell you, you know, you have to get you a sponsor. You have to do service work. You have to stay clean no matter what. You have to learn how depend on God of your understanding so you will never have to use again. And I say that all the time because even when we get clean, understanding the addiction had us being selfish, self-centered. These are all the addictions we had to work on. But let me tell you something about this disease. I hate this disease because this disease steals people's lives, you know, overdoses to the family members who had to deal with someone losing their life, or one of their sons or their daughter or their mother or father overdosed to a drug. I know many people who have had to bury their child. I know many people that realize that, our kids supposed to bury us. We're not supposed to bury our children. But I also know that the fact that, in this disease, it's a dirty disease. It's a disease that make us think that everything is okay. The deception of tricking us, the deception of getting addicted and hurting ourselves and the people that we love. This addiction is real. It's alcohol, it's pills, it's drugs, all of it's drugs. But I want to talk about the most ones I see, and that's the crack cocaine, the fentanyl, the pills, the Adderall, Oxycontin, all the pain pills, the alcohol, the heroin, the fentanyl. All of us are drugs, and all of us are dirty drugs. It ain't no drug that you gonna have a nice time and spark parrot and get your feet on the floor and and create new ideas. It takes all of our ideas. Hey, Latrice, baby, I hate this disease. And when I tell you something, I say this every day. When I'm talking on the phone, when I'm talking to people, when I'm answering their emails, or when they just want to call and talk, this disease is not fair. Because when we came into treatment, we was lost, trying to find our way, trying to forgive the things that we have done, trying to forgive the people who have hurt us in our addiction, or who we have hurt in our addiction. So I had to find a way to, I was broken. So when we come into treatment, most of us then know what it is not to pay rent, know what it is to go to jail, know what it is to lose our house, know what it is to not do self-care and cleanliness for ourselves. Notice how we done got into some bad situation due to this disease, which we call drugs. Yeah. This disease stole a lot of my friends because they wasn't willing to find a new way to live. I was willing, because when you're so broken, you learn how to mend the pieces back together. And so we have two battles. We have the battles within ourselves, and we have the battles of the disease. Especially when we coming in. And all of a sudden, we already going through. Some damage done been done. Kid me not. Some damage had been done. If you the coolest person that was using drugs and nothing never happened to you, then this don't apply to you. But I know that can't nobody tell me that they done went through the drugs of addiction and things didn't happen, or to them, or at them, or they done something to hurt somebody. Because see, I know I did it all. In recovery, some people don't like to talk about recovery. Some people don't want nobody to know they dealing with the disease of Narcotics Anonymous. They don't want nobody to know they in recovery. But see, one thing about recovery that I found dealing with this disease, you have to show up and tell on your disease. Because if you don't show up and tell up on your disease and talk about what's eating you and talk about what you're going through and talk about how you was hurt or how you hurt somebody, then you will never learn how to move on. You will never learn that. Because the only thing the disease of an addiction is to steal and trick us and keep us bound and keep us in chains, and we can't break the chains because we have to first learn about how the addiction works. The addiction is a disease, and the only cure that I know that anybody would tell you is don't pick up. Don't use, no matter what. because using will cause you to keep using, and you stay out there longer and longer and longer. That's what I did. You know, I didn't get clean to be ashamed of my past. And my past is what brought me to the present of me knowing who I am and what I won't do and what I won't accept in my life. That's what the addiction of this disease have taught me. It taught me that I can learn how to follow the 12 steps, learn how to deal with forgiveness. And that's a big part. It's a big part. When I tell you it's a big part, it plays a big, big part in your recovery. Because if you can't learn how to forgive yourself first, how is you going to forgive anybody else that you have hurted? And I know I've hurt a lot of people. Did I mean to? No. Nobody never means to hurt somebody in addictive of using with this disease, but it happens. It happens. You know, and I also learned that when I got ready to go into treatment, when we get ready to go into inpatient or go into treatment, you know, we scared. You know, I've had a young lady, I don't never mention no name, but she called me crying, and I took her to a couple of places, and they accepted her in, and she was scared because she had 2 kids, and she had did some things that thank God that they didn't pull her kids. But I had to talk to her and let her know we all make mistakes. And we all have to forgive ourselves in order to move on to forgive other people of the things that they have done to us. I want to tell my auntie Evelyn, she's been celebrating clean. She celebrated. Everybody had to wear pink, but I had forgot. And went to see my nephew. But anyway, she celebrate breast cancer, being free from cancer. And I want to say to my auntie Evelyn, you know, I'm very proud of you, because she's 70, I believe she's 77 or 78, somewhere up there. And I wanted to say to her, I love her, and thank God for keeping her around. You know, I wish my mother, her sister, was still here, but God has His own timing, and that I can't intervene in. But I also want to tell y'all, for everybody that have hurt people in your disease, you got to learn how to forgive yourself first. That was my biggest key. I was still holding on to stuff I didn't know, and that's why it's good to go into treatment, because they have good counselors and good therapists there that can help you find your way with anything that you're struggling with. You know, but I also learned that once this disease of addiction it'll trick you, it'll mess you up, put you in certain circumstances that you know you shouldn't be in. It'll cause you to lose things that you work so hard to get, destroy friendships and relationships, and mothers against mothers, and fathers against fathers, and sisters and brothers. But you know, this disease of an addiction, I hate it, because it almost took my life. And it took a lot of my friends' life that's not here. And it ain't a day to go by, and I'll tell you, it ain't a day to go by that I don't think about the good friends that I had in recovery, the good friends that didn't even go to me but had stopped using. I think about them because they was a part of my process. You know, they was a part of my process when I first came in, and you know, they no longer here. And I have to thank God every day that I could have died in the midst of using. You could have died in the midst of using. But what I love about recovery is that second chance in your life is possible. It must happen. It's got to happen. It's got to happen. When you stay clean and you give yourself and you study and you go through the steps, then you will learn how to forgive yourself. Then that way it opens up doors for you to forgive everybody else. But everybody ain't there yet. Everybody still, there's people right now that I know that's still clean, have not used, but they just ain't forgave themselves. They just doing and sticking around the right people so they won't use ever again. But they have to work their steps in order to understand this disease, you know. And it can start with alcohol. It can start with just picking up some pills, or it can start with you shooting up, snorting up. It can start with just kicking it with your friends, and all of a sudden, you know, now it's a habit. You can't let go. You want that same drug. You want that same feel when you get high. And you'll never get the same feel that you got when you first started. You will never get that. But that's what we reach for. That's what we want. That's what we want when we come into this addiction. You know, and it's that, you know, people say, you know, in order to change, you have to change. And that is so true. Because if you don't change, who gonna change? We have to make a change in order to see the difference. Man, I saw a tremendous difference in me. The old me to the new me. And I thank God that the best thing that I ever gave, I think the best thing that we ever gave ourselves is freedom from addiction. We don't have to use. I realize I don't have to please nobody. I realize just take one day at a time. You know, no matter what the doctor tell you, no matter what we're going through, no matter, because see, when you get clean, life still shows up. Through sickness, through illness, through can't be in control of everything. I know I can't be in control. Only thing I can be in control of is not picking up ever again. I can deal with everything else, but I don't never want to use again. That's why I tell myself every day I hate this disease of an addiction, because this disease have took a lot of good peoples out of here, and it have took a lot of stuff out of our spirituality to where we wanted to give up. I know I was to a point I wanted to give up. I was a point I was so tired of lying and sneaking and getting myself in trouble, and then found myself I couldn't get out of it, you know. And I knew right then and there that I needed a wake-up call. And that wake-up call was the God of my understanding that I can finally get into a relationship with. I always knew about God. He was always there. He never left us. We leave him. You know, but then I found a new way to live. I found that in my life that if I want better, we must do better. This disease of an addiction was kill, steal, and steal, kill, and destroy. And it almost killed me. It almost destroyed me. Man, hidden bottoms. Hey, Auntie Wanda, how you doing? My greatest, one of my aunties, her and my auntie always come up here, and thank y'all so much. You know, but if don't nobody get on here, I'm still here. You know, I got on here because God told me to. And I'm going to continue to do, because see, me and him got a special relationship that we didn't used to have. And when you get a relationship with God or your understanding, it becomes better to make the program better for you and to make your life better. You know, I don't ever want to use again. I would never use again, no matter what happened. And I done been through the raw. When I tell you I done been through the raw, I done been through the raw. And going today to see my nephew, my favorite nephew. You know, we lost Worm about 3 years ago, and then went to see Pedro today. I really wasn't feeling the best. I was all over the place, but my word is all I have right now. You know, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, I'm going to try. We can't happen when things come upon us and we don't see it coming, but we still yet have to deal with. We still have to deal with this disease. Because you can be doing really good. Let me tell you something. You can be doing really good just for the day. And things are happening. And how many of y'all have had to where if everything could have went wrong that day, it did. That's them days we can have even being clean. And the reason I say how to deal with this disease of an addiction, because if you don't pay attention to your disease, if you don't pay attention to your behavior, if you don't pay attention to your character and your attitude and your self-centeredness, you will find yourself going right back to using all over again. And that's what I'm scared of. You know, I'm scared of always, that's why I'm always on cue. I'm always looking at today. I'm looking at why did I get out of shape today? Why? What's going on with me? What did I see that was wrong? Why am I feeling this way? You know, I look at all angles of my life because this disease of an addiction, even the disease itself, when you are doing good, the cravings that get on you, want to drink. And it ain't even got to be when all hell busts open. It ain't got to be like that. It can be when everything is going good. That urge can come at any given time. And that's why I said learning about this disease of an addiction is very powerful. It will help you figure out who you are. It will help you figure out what you need to do. It will help you figure out where you're going. It will show you and help you realize where you've been. It will show you that you need to change. It will show you that it's possibilities as long as you want it to be possibilities. It will show you all that. But recovery comes with a price of a gift. And the gift is changing the way you think, act, and roll. You know, I can say roll, because I don't roll with the people who use. I don't deal with them. That's past tense. Don't mean that I'm perfect. Don't mean that I'm better than you. It's just I found a new way to live without bringing drugs and alcohol and weed and all that in my life. I did it all. When I tell you I did it all, I did it all. And I ain't the one to go back. No matter what happens in my life, if situations come up that I can't handle or situations come in, that's when I learn to use the God of my understanding. Because we can't control everybody, everything. We can't do that. Our purpose was to stop using. Our purpose is to find out our worth. Our purpose is to not ever use again. Our purpose is to do things that we never have done before. And that one of them was I always use. I always use. Hey, Blanche, my friend. You know, like I was saying, you know, I was all over the place. It didn't feel good for about 3 or 4 days, but I promised my nephew, sometime when we don't feel good, we have to get up and go for situations that come into our lives. But I'm always I'm a fighter. I never give up, no matter what. I'm always going to walk with my head up because I walk too many times with my head down. So I have to keep that atmosphere in my life no matter what I cannot use. No matter what I have to deal with just for today. I have to understand that my disease of an addiction can flare up at any given time. And today was one of them days that, you know, I was trying to figure out, okay, God, what do you want me to do? I don't know why this happened. You know, but, you know, I thank God that it did happen because I found out something that I needed to find out, that I have to go through a procedure. And it's okay. It's okay because, you know, sometimes the best part about recovery is the things that we can't control, but yet we deal with it. That's the gift of recovery. That's the gift. That's the gift of being clean. That's the gift of taking care of ourselves and learning when something is wrong. If our breathing is short, or if I'm going to a meeting and my stomach is hurting or my legs is bothering me, you know, that's the gift. We pay attention. When, real talk, when I was using, I didn't pay attention to anything. That disease of an addiction had me to where I didn't care about anything. I didn't care about who I hurt. I didn't care about who hurt me. All I wanted to do was keep using, to numb me, to isolate me, you know. So as I was riding back, me and my sister, that's her son, my nephew, you know, he looked forward to us, called himself buying us some pizza in the jail. You know, a jail ain't got no good food. And he said, Auntie, you don't feel good? I said, no, but I'm coming. I'm coming because I have to let you know it's still possibilities and hope shot. And I want you to know that you got somebody. See, everybody make mistakes. And I don't know why people don't think they turn ain't coming. I don't know why people think that. I don't know why people think everything is good, is going to always be good. No, everybody have a time in a day, a time in this world where they're going to hear something they don't want to hear. They're going to deal with something they don't want to deal with. They're going to learn about something that they didn't know. They're going to learn how to forgive themselves in such a way. It's a gift. And I hate this disease. I hate it. Because a lot of our peoples are sitting in jail due to the disease of an addiction. And that was my nephew. Up under the influence of drugs, and you did something, now you got to face the consequences. You know, that was the same thing with us. When we come into recovery, we have to learn how to deal with things that we help gain in our situation. We got to learn how to deal with self-worth. We got to learn how to deal that I am beautiful, or I'm not ugly, I'm not that. God loves me no matter what happens in my life. And you know, until you get to that point, you know, you're going to still go through life dipping and dabbing, or stay out there a while and come back. When I came in, I was so broken, I knew I wasn't going back. I knew, for the first thing in my life, I knew something about Renee. And I knew that I was never going to use again. And I'm going to always say I hate this disease. That's my first word. I'm going to always say I never want to use again, no matter what happens. And so far I done held on to that, because when things come into your life and people die, friends die, associates die, things don't work out like you want to, you know, you still don't have to use. Using ain't going to solve nothing. Using ain't going to solve a thing. Using will have you back out there using all over again. And the spirituality part that I must keep in my life, in this recovery, because I need both of them. One can't do without the other. And I'm okay with that. Whoever else ain't okay with it, that's on them. I'm only speaking about me. I need both of them. I need to know who I am at all times. Because when I stop forgetting who I am, when I stop forgetting that, you know, I have to let God be in the driver's seat. As soon as I want to take charge, because I know I can drive or think I can drive better, I have to learn how to let go. I have to learn how to let go. And sometimes letting go means you're by yourself. Sometimes letting go means you have to move around to be to yourself. Sometimes you cannot answer the phone. Sometimes you just need some me time so you can have that open relationship with God like I do. I know God has favor on all of us. I'm no better than nobody else. But I know the same God that I love, that keeps me going, is the same God that keeps everybody else going. That's in the meeting all over the world. People is fighting this disease every day. They are learning to live without the drug in their body ever again. It's beautiful when you can go, you know, and be with people that you love, and you know they on the same board you on. They can't use no matter what. You know, I had to learn everything about this disease of an addiction. It's very tricky. It's very conning. It's very baffling. And the reason I say baffling, because it'll make you think you can drink just for today, and stop and wait a couple of days. And when you stop, seem like you drank more. The conning, it'll con you to think that you're okay. Hey, I'm good. You know, I can drink and get high, and I can smoke and be okay. You know, I'm not an addict. I'm not a crackhead. I'm not a user. I'm just a person who, I love these kind of people. I only drink. I only use every now and then. Okay. And I can stop when I get ready. And then later on I see you still doing the same thing you was doing. So you couldn't stop. That's why it's called addiction. That's why it's called addiction, the disease of an addiction. But like I said, my two topics was forgiveness and understanding this disease of an addiction. This addiction is so powerful. You know, so many. In the emails that I get, you know, I got one email while I was driving. I had my sister to read it to me. And I was driving, and she was saying, Miss Renee, she said, I had 6 months. And she said, and I got with my mother and her boyfriend. And I started using today. And that was the email I got. I said, well, I told my sister, just like you started today, end it today. Go to a meeting. Get you a sponsor. You know, see, that's why they said we can't go around people's places and things. That's the very reason why. Don't you try to be clean and you going to a party where you know they're going to be using drugs and alcohol and everything else. Why put yourself in that asthma? And I asked her, had her text her back, why would you put yourself in that predicament when you know you've been clean and working on something? Because I've been dealing with you. Why would you go to that place where you know your mother and your boyfriend use? Why? Did you set up reservations? You know, was things going wrong that you know you needed to be over there and you wanted to get high or drink? You know, you can't see your mother and her boyfriend right now. Your life is on the line. And people don't understand that. This disease is forever. It ain't going away. The drugs and alcohol ain't going away. So we have to change the way we think and find out the definition of why we can't stop. One, you can't stop because you don't want to stop. Two, it's cunning, baffling, and powerful. So when you want to stop, that disease is cunning. That disease is powerful. So I have to always remember that. The same thing I'm telling y'all is the same thing I have to apply to my life. It don't mean I don't care how much clean time you got. We still have to apply the same things to a newcomer that we tell them that comes into the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. We have to still apply that to ourselves. Ain't no, what apply to you don't mean it don't apply to me. What apply to you means it apply to me. I don't care how the years you got, the months you got, we still must not use no matter what happens. We cannot use. I got so sick of failing in my life. Every day using for 365 hours a day. It's a wonder that I got any kidney, any lungs, half of a heart, or any brain memory of my brain. Because when I tell you, when I got a certain age, dibbing and dabbing between 9 and 10 years old, mother and daddy had all these bars and taverns. So all my life I was around money. I was around alcohol. I was around drugs. I was around pimps and players. I was around every kind of addict and every kind of situation that you can think of. Mother tried to keep us out of that. You know, she really did. She didn't let us go in the bars or none of that. But sometimes with my little self-centeredness, I always wanted to sneak and see how the go-go dancers do, and how they would be snooting up, and how they would be getting high in the bathroom. I seen it all. Now, did my mother know? No. Because I was a sneaky little son of a gun. And then when I would see them drinking, I remember one day, I saw these people. They started off real cool. They started off husband and wife. They was cool. And I was sneaking, run downstairs to the bar. And they was so cool. And I loved their atmosphere and how they was laughing and talking. And I noticed that every time they took a drink, they got belligerent. They started arguing. They started slapping each other. They started cussing each other out. And so I wanted to see, did that alcohol do them the way it did them? Will it do me the same way? With me, it didn't do that. With me, it just made me laugh. It made me throw up. It made me fall. It made me forget. I thought I went to bed, but I end up on the floor in the living room. And I'm like, man, that's some powerful, at 9 years old. I mean, that's some powerful stuff. What's in that alcohol that could take a person from this to that? And I had to get down. But you know, self-centeredness, impulsiveness, you know. So one day, understanding the disease of an addiction. One day I went to school and I went in Daddy's in the tavern because we stayed upstairs, and I went and got all this liquor and put it in this great big old book bag and took it to the school and got everybody drunk. That was the worst thing I could have did. Man, kids was fighting. They was throwing up. Everything that I went through. This disease, that alcohol showed me one thing. It showed me it do what it do. It's going to make you, some people get funny like weed. I can't smoke weed, y'all. Because weed had me doing some crazy things. Crack cocaine had me doing the worst, conning and baffling, crazy stuff that I've done in my life. When I think about the goodness of God, how I could have been dead a long time ago. You know, smoking crack, taking weed, and getting paranoid, running back and forth to the door, you know, thinking I see something on the floor, running to the bathroom and didn't have to use it, just looking for anything that was white, or take a drink, and just, I mean, that was terrible. At a young age. I was so glad to be introduced to the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous program. Shout out to you, 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous program. You changed my life. You put me on the right path. God sent me to a book, to a hospital, and I went straight there. I was tired. Tired of lying, tired of manipulating, tired of hurting myself, tired of lying to myself, tired of looking in the mirror, convincing myself that I'm not an addict, I'm going to stop, and then the next day or the same hour, I go back to using again. My life was messed up. And I'm sure your life was too. I ain't seen a perfect addict yet. I've seen a lot of good peoples in recovery though. I've been blessed to meet a lot of good peoples in recovery, and they've been blessed to meet me. And you know, I'm a loner. I just hang to myself. I got 3 friends. That's it. That's enough. That's all I want. I don't want a bunch of friends, then that's a bunch of trouble. I don't want a bunch of women around me. That's a bunch of trouble. I don't want nobody but who God put in my life, and the same 3 peoples are still in my life. That's it. That's all. I don't need no more women friends. I got plenty man friends. I'ma always have man friends. I'm talking about man friends that don't want me. Just man friends, period. I had to let the other ones go. See, that's what that disease of an addiction will do for you. It'll put your life in perspective. Like, Every time a man wanted to talk to me, I think he wanted me. Now, the perception of me thinking that way due to the disease of an addiction. Because that's the way I used to get my mans, up under the influence of alcohol and drugs. And now that I have no drugs or no alcohol or no kind of communication with that, I ain't looking for that. I'm staying away from that. That had me in so much trouble. Once you start loving yourself and learn how to get you a sponsor, go to a meeting, do some service work, I'm telling you what works. It worked for me, it'll work for you. You don't have to use. You don't have to keep holding on to everything that you carry. You don't have to not forgive yourself. That's the only way you're going to break that chain, is to not hold on to things that's bothering you and that's crippling you, that's making you go to rock bottom. I thank God for the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous program. Sometimes they might not see me for a while. Sometimes, you know, when I just want to be me and deal with my own eternal, I go to a meeting. Now, don't get me wrong. If I feel like I want to get up and go to a meeting, I get up and go to a meeting. But sometimes I want to just sit back and I want to chill and I want to listen to what other people is going through. I want to see how other people is dealing with addiction. I do step work with a lot of people. I deal with a lot of people. You know, and my life has changed tremendously only due to the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous program. And the reason why this program worked for me, because God was all in it. I tell anybody, God is all in this program. And if anybody thinking that they can't do without God, then, well, I ain't going to say what I want to say, but I will tell you, keep hope alive. Keep staying clean. Because He the only one that can help you. He the only one that I know that's in this 12-step program. And I'm so glad I kept Him in my life, even though I was using. I used to use, I promise y'all, I told my mother this, I would be smoking and using, and would study praying to God and say, God, please help me. Sometimes I felt like I was going to have a heart attack, my heart go to fluttering. You know, I was messed up. And for me to go back would be telling me that the program didn't work. That's why I tell you I hate this disease. I'm going to always tell it so I can keep hating this disease. So I won't ever go back. Keep me in the stand. Keep me up front that I know what I'm dealing with. The disease is too powerful for me. I can't handle it. It's too big for me. I can't endure no more pain. After all the pain that He took me through, out of all the forgiveness, out of all the lies I done told, out of all the peoples I done hurt, I hurt some people that truly love me due to my addiction. And the main person I truly hurt, the main people that we hurt, is ourselves. We have to deal with ourselves first before we can learn on working on the broken wounds or who we done hurt or who hurt us. I had to learn how to forgive first. I had to learn genuine how to forgive me so I can work on myself, understanding this disease. I can't hold on to things that's in the past. I can talk about it, relate it with my sponsor. She walked, and that's where the steps come in, you know, because it was things I didn't know how to work, and she taught me how to work. And she's still my sponsor today. And can't nobody tell you my sponsor name. Can't nobody tell you who she is. That's my own personal, private stuff. I don't want everybody to know who my sponsor is. That's my choice. That ain't got to do with nobody else. My sponsor is privileged to me. She's special to me. So therefore, I want to hold on to her like she's just for me. But she sponsors people. I know she do. But for me, that's personal. For me, she's my, personal tell it all to. Because I tell her everything. I talk to her just like I would talk to my mother. And my mother ain't here, so I talk to her. You know, and I keep her in my circle. I love being clean. I wouldn't give it up for nothing in the world. I love getting up in the morning with a solid head and a rightful mind to want to do right. I want to see, I needed to see did recovery really work. And I'm still telling y'all that after 35 years, that it still worked. I know for a fact that I changed my life. I don't need nobody to pat me. I don't need the person to say congratulations. If you do that, that's fine and dandy. But I have to tell myself every day, I am glad I learned how to work this disease and tell on this disease. And I learned how to find out everything about me that caused many addiction. I caused about me. Many behaviors. I picked up a lot of characteristic things. I picked up a lot of personal and personality things. I had to learn how to work. But one thing me and my sister was talking about today, she said, Renee, one thing I know about you, a person can tell sometimes when something is bothering you. Because when I used to speak up, dealing with addiction, I didn't know how to verbally come out and say it right without all the anger and the build-up in me. I didn't know how to do that. I just know that it's a true fact that hurt people's hurt people's. And I know that for a fact because I was hurting, so it was so easily for me to hurt other people's. And now when other people's hurt me or my sister or people's that I love and I'm around that, oh, you gonna know it. You see it. But sometimes it ain't the right time for me to address it. It's just not. Because once you get to learn you got to learn what not to do and how to do and what to do. You have to learn that about yourself. And by me being clean, my sister was telling me today, even if she never told me, she said, sis, I've seen you to change. I said, well, when God come into your life, into these 12-step program, if I don't change, then that means what is the program doing? If people can't see a change, if I can't see the change in me, what is the 12-step program for? How is you going to know about the change unless you go and search it and find out about the disease of an addiction and how it works? How you going to know it's working if you don't try it? People died that tried it. People died that tried it. People's had long, clean time. And that's why I have to stay where I'm at. I have to always stay in my lane so I won't cross other people's lane. I have to always know that I hate this disease. I remember what this disease done to me. I remember I know for a fact what the disease can still do to me. If I choose to let go. If I choose to stop surrender. If I choose to sit back and just say F it or forget it. Any given day I can go and pick up. I'm not exempt from it and you're not either. So that's why we go to meetings. That's why we sit around the tables. This is why we talk and hear everybody's story. Because a lot of stories was my story or is my story. So I have to always remember that I am a recovering addict. And I learned how to deal with me one-on-one first. And one-on-one, I learned how to forgive myself. It has to start with you. If it don't start with you, you can't forgive nobody else. You can say I'm sorry, or you can say you forgive me, and you will still hold on to that. You will still carry that. I know I did it. I really wanted to let go of some things that had been hindering me for years, decades. I had to learn. When they tell you if you get into these steps and start working a program, your life will change, it is the truth. It is this. I love this. I love this guy, the carpenter's son. And I admire him because he like me. He can laugh and tell jokes and be serious. See, I don't want y'all to think it's all about laughter, laughter, laughter. When I've got on here sometimes and broke down because I was all over the place. And I will have to let y'all know I'm human. I'm recovering. I'm going through. And people who go through don't mean that you're perfect. That means that you're better than you was. And that means you found out that you could still go on in life without the use of drugs and alcohol. I can't hide mine. Recovery taught me I can't hide nothing. Because anything I feel, I'm going to feel it because it's true feelings. It's natural feelings. I ain't got no alcohol. I ain't got no drug to boost me up. I ain't got nothing to change my perspective. I just know I can't use. So now you get the real Renee. That's me. I told my sister I ain't no faker. I ain't you know, I don't lie no more. I don't do none of the things I used to do. Because when I asked God to help me, help myself, that's just what he did. He gave me all the tools to use. It was up to me to use it. He gave me all the places to go to. It was up to me to go to it. He gave me all the friends and the people that I needed in my life to help me with a situation if I needed help with. Everything that I asked God in this book, 12 Step, everything that I've asked God to help me do, he have done it. Everything I asked God, every prayer, every answer, every prayer, he gave it to me. And sometimes when we get into recovery and we get into it and we get to feeling good, some of us come in and we feel like, no, I can't stay, you know, no, I can't deal with this, I need some kind of drug. That's the addiction. Anytime you can't stop doing something that you've been doing for a long period of time, that's an addiction. I know I don't need you. I ain't finna go back. Ain't no matter what happens, no matter who dies on me, no matter who loves me, no matter who care about me, I hate this disease. And I'm going to continue to say that because that's what got me the years that I have. Is letting go, surrendering, finding a solution, putting myself out the way and letting God show me what to do. That is what helped me. And have people been touched? Plenty. God didn't give me a vision that would fail. He never does. He never gives you a vision. He never tells you something and it's going to fail. Because he's not a failing God. Everything that he touched, it heals. Everything that he touched, it helps. Every thought that he give you, it works. I learned that in recovery. Because there was no way if somebody told me I would ever stop using and would ever have all these many years of clean time, I would have told them they was a lie. I felt useless. I felt unworthy. I felt not worthy enough to love myself. I didn't love myself. I was holding on to hate, holding on to anger, holding on to trust, holding on to using people. I was just a person walking around with all different personalities, with all different kind of feelings, with all different kind of situations in my life. And I knew I needed some help. And I know the only way you're going to get help is to go get help. Or to help somebody help you get help. Recovery is a thing. The Disease of Narcotics Anonymous program, you have to want it. You have to see what it does in your life for you to keep it. And when you start realize, man, the sky is unlimited. Man, I couldn't believe, you know, when I came into recovery, I was one of them lost souls. I was lost in the wilderness. And I had to come to a place where I saw counselors, Sterling White, Brian, James, Anita, Heavenly. I came into some good therapists. And once I started talking to them, and they started helping me deal with the disease of an addiction, and we started being in groups. And I love that about the hospital. I love that. The hospitals and the people don't know how appreciative people. That's why I go back and I try to tell the people how appreciated I am. Because of you, you played a part in my process of me being clean. I'm tired of running. I'm tired of lying. I was tired of sneaking and manipulating. I was tired of hurting people that I love. I was tired of hurting me. And so when you get to a place in your life, you got to find some solution that will help you open up some doors that will stop you from using. And know that you can't use no matter what happens. Because what happens, they say what happens means anything can happen. I'm good with that. I'm good in being okay with me. I'm good on loving me. I ain't never loved on me that much myself in my whole life. Anything I want, God bless me to get it. I got everything. I got the spirituality part. I got the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous part. I just got a vision. I'm always thinking of what I can do different. Because I know I can show myself a lot of possibilities that's still out there that I want. And I'm going to get. If he allowed me the time, I'm going to get. I thank God. I'm going through some stuff. But you will never know it. I just told you I'm going through some stuff. You don't know what stuff I'm going through. But I tell you what, it ain't nothing like I went through when I was using. It ain't nothing like that. I mean, I ain't using. I ain't got to use the coke with this. I ain't got to drink the coke with this. I ain't got to go tell everybody what I'm going through, because it ain't your business. If I want you to know, y'all know Renee, you know I'll tell it. I'll tell on me. I'll tell on me because, you know, God allowed me to be special so I can tell you how special he been to me. And the same God that I know is the same God you know. And the same God that's special to me is the same God going to be special to you. In the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous program. Whoever don't like it, don't care. Whoever don't want it, that's your problem. But I'm keeping it because I showed myself that this program really works. What? What you say? I ain't used. I ain't used. Out of all the stuff I done been through, God, I ain't used. That's the greatest gift that you can have in the Narcotics Anonymous program. And man, I done went through some stuff. Stuff y'all don't even know about. Stuff stuff y'all don't even know about. But guess what? I did it with a clean heart. I did it with some not using, not drinking, not popping no pills, not shooting up. I did it, y'all. Only because I learned how to forgive myself for all the things that I put myself through. You know, and then I had to work on all the other addictions that I picked up. Like, you know, some bad addictions. I'll say this before I close. The bad addictions was, you know, everybody's husband that I liked it, I was doomed to go get. I ain't bragging. I'm just telling you that the seeds of an addiction is kind and baffling and powerful. It's not nothing to play with, but I'm just telling you a little bit about me. If I wanted to take something, I'm going to take it. You know, it's so many devastation parts in my life that I created this monster, this woman monster that was cruel, that was walking in pain, that was holding resentments, that was angry, that was mad, that didn't see the joy, didn't see the peace, didn't see the spiritual part. You know, I was broken. All due to the disease of an addiction of my way of thinking. That's why I pay attention to how I feel. I pay attention to who I talk to. I pay attention to what I want you to know. I pay attention to me. Me. For the first time in all these decades. Over 3 decades. God, thank you. I thank him every day. 3 decades. I ain't had to pick up. Did I want to? Yeah. I would be lying if I told you I didn't. Even in recovery, we still get urges. That thought will come in, but I learned one thing. As long as you don't go on that thought and let that thought become useful to you, and you pick up, you ain't got nothing to worry about. Thoughts come in, thoughts go out. So I done trained my brain differently now. Come on, I'm ready. Come on in. Come on in the room. Now go right back out of the room, because I ain't picking up. Come on in. I see what you're trying to do, but I'm not picking back up. Come on in. Lost my mother, come on in. I ain't picking up. Lost my son, come on in. No matter what, I gotta cry my way through. Get up. Get up, Renee. Get up, Renee. Can't use, no matter what. I had to bury my son. I had to bury my mama. I had to bury the man that I know he loved every piece of hair on my head. I had to bury him. Bury my godfather who gave me the world, gave me anything I wanted. And the most thing he gave me was his love and genuine time. And he saw me clean. That was the gift of the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous program. I ain't never going back. I hate this disease. I hate what it does to people. I hate how they create people's mind to think that they worthless. They can't do it. They can't stay clean. Yes, you can. I'm here to tell you, I thought like you. I was thinking like you. I did like you. I was you. But I'm here today to tell you, no matter what, we don't have to pick up. We have to find a solution to keep ourselves clean no matter what. No matter what comes in our day, no matter what comes. You know, like I started off saying, have anybody ever had a day where everything that could have happened, happened? I remember one time, you know, I'm so obligated. I remember one time when the flood came and everything was happening. Y'all wouldn't believe what could have happened that day. It happened all day. And when I got over here to do on my, I just broke. I just was teary-eyed. I was all over the place. But you know what I tell people? Don't be scared when you're all over the place. Because when I realize something, when I'm all over the place, that means I'm paying attention. That means I'm aware something is going on. I'm all over the place. People gonna say, I'll use because I was all over. They say use no matter what. That's what they told me. Don't use no matter what. So when I'm all over the place, that means what? I'm paying attention. I'm all over the place. I'm here. I'm there. I'm here. But I noticed it. I didn't pick up before I could figure what's going on. I just ain't finna pick up, period. That ain't in my life no more. I can't ever use no more. That's the cure. Don't pick up, you won't use. Don't use, you won't pick up. That's the gift. The gift is you ain't got to use. You ain't got to take a drink. Because every drink and every drug is hurting us. But we can't see the inner pain. We can't see the inner pain. We can't see what it's doing to our bodies. You know, some of us, I'm praying for one of my best friends. And she's going through some things. The wreckage of our past will catch up with us. The drinking, the using, everything. The wreckage of our past will keep up with. It will come into the presence of us being clean and doing everything right. Walking the straight line. No bull crap, no lying, no manipulating, no cheating, no stealing, none of that. And the wreckage of our past due to us using drugs and alcohol and messing up our bodies and putting stuff in there that don't belong in there. That's why they call it an addiction. That's what the addiction does. It breaks us. It ignores us. It craves us. And it keeps us bound. Keep us with a chain. I felt like many, many days when I was using. Oh my God. Every time I think about where he has brought me from. How I went from a bed to sleeping in a garage. How I went from a garage from sleeping in a car. how I had everything and now I have nothing. How I used to have a couch to sit on, now I sit on a crate box. I mean, I went through it. I must tell y'all I did. I went from not paying a light bill to paying a light bill. I never went without paying rent. And I think the reason why that was, even though I had an addiction, I would use everybody else to get the money, but I was too scared to not pay rent because I didn't want me and my kids to be homeless. But I was homeless in a home. You ever heard of having a home, but being homeless in your home? Because I was held hostage by the disease of an addiction. I missed a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff happened in my home. Outside of my home. Just the disease of an addiction ain't right. And I hate that disease. I hate the disease. When I get that time and I look back over my life and saw what he helped me do, what he helped me accomplish, when I thought that I could never stay clean, he proved me wrong. When I thought that I could never find joy again, he showed me I was wrong. When I could never find peace in my life without the lying and manipulating and the overthinking and the depression and wanting to hurt myself, he showed me wrong. He showed me the gift of the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous program. And can't nobody take it away. You can't pray it away. You can't give it away. It's mine for the rest of my life. Because I do know I have an addiction. And that no matter how many years, that disease is sitting right there. Anything that you change differently will cause you to go back and forget about all the years that you worked so hard to stay clean. So when I tell y'all I ain't never going back, I ain't never going back. And we are on step 10. I'm finna get off. I done went over time. I was just so filled to see my nephew today. He was so happy. You know, he was so happy. And he asked me today, Auntie, do you forgive me for the things that I have done? I said, I surely do. Do you forgive me for how I cussed you out and popped you upside your head and made you feel bad? He bust out and said, that was the best visit. Because we all make mistakes. But we don't have to become the mistakes over and over again. All we have to do is change the way we think, how we live, and who we are. And once we identify with the disease of an addiction, that helps us to get to know I can, he can, so I let him. I always say the first 3 steps. He can't, I can, so I let him. And that's what I had to learn how to do. He's very powerful in my life. You know, he's taught me to understand the gift of life and understand the gift of loving somebody even when they treat you bad. You know, my sister is a real good example. I watch my sister. You know, I watch my sister plenty of times. And whoever got a sister or a brother, somebody, you know, I'm the oldest. You know, and my sister, she know the word. My sister, she's blessing. She done blessed me, prayed over me, you know. And when I see people hurt her, you know, I can't drink and use no more. I can't defend her with that alcohol and them drugs. So I have to use the God in me. I have to use it because she's so forgiving. She so nurtured the ones who hurt her over and over again. She's so, I mean, she helps me grow. She can be hurt in her whole body. She'll talk to me or talk to her godmother or so, but she be hurt and she still get up there like it ain't nothing. And nurture the people that's hurting her, or bless the people that's hurting her, or bless the ones that misused her, or bless the ones that continue to hurt her. Thank God for forgiveness. Next week, y'all, Sunday, we're on step 10. We continue to take a personal inventory. So, and when we were wrong, properly admitted it. You know, that's a good step. All our steps is a good step. I look forward to the steps because I really get down and I nurture and I go in. And, you know, I don't do the steps that's in the book. I take my own little pieces and word to help people's better out because some people's I realize can't read. And I understand that. So I speak to you all to tell you and how to do and what to do because a lot of them is still going to school for reading. Some of them can't read. Some of them is trying to go to school to read. And I thank God. But let me close out, you know, because I thank God. I thank God that He is so not like man. He is so forgiving. He is so loving and kind. You know, I had to nurture myself to understand that. He been loving and kind to me, but I choose not to be loving and kind to myself until I found the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous and got a better, closer relationship with God. God always been in my life. I never took Him out. I just didn't pay Him no attention at times. But now I give Him all my attention. To somebody that I didn't pay attention to, and now that I give Him all my attention, that's a big change in my life. Because I know He got me. He tells me that. Stop worrying. That ain't your job. That's too big for you. Bless everyone that came up on this site. Latrice, Evan, Blanche, my auntie Wanda, who is always on here, always saying something positive to me. Always give me that push to keep going, to do better. Thank you, Auntie Wanda. Thanks, Auntie Evelyn. You know, today is her cancer-free, and I'm so proud of her. Her and my mother were so close, and I know she missed my mother. You know, I know she do, because they talked every morning all through the day. I miss my mama, too. Let me leave a little short saying to you all. Those of you who have a mother, we can say she wasn't there, she was never there, I can't forgive her. How you gonna work a program if you can't forgive? You got to forgive the people who hurt you, who didn't get to know you, and who needs to know you now as being different. Stop holding resentments. Start loving people. Because what if God was like us? What if He didn't forgive us? What if He hold on to anger? What if He hold on to not loving us again? What if He just threw His hat in and said, done? What if? Where would we be? What if He didn't put people in our life that was going to help us and nurture us and show us a new, better way to live? Where would we be? So I thank God for the 12 steps. Shout out to the 12-step Narcotics Anonymous. Shout out to anybody clean time, anybody celebrating a month, years, multiple years, or guess what? Just for today, I celebrate to you. Because that means a lot when you can stop using and stop using, and you find a new way to live. May God continue to bless you. On Sunday, we are on step 10. I always look forward to my steps because I love the steps. That's what saved me, and that's what keeps me going. Thank y'all for the prayers. Thank you for my friends that I was able to talk to on text and on call. Something that I'm dealing with. But guess what? I'm good. I'm in His hands. And I always say that to y'all. I'm unbreakable. You can't break me. You just can't. Because I know I know it's come to a point to where I have to continue to say all these things to myself to keep me knowing that I can't use. So I have to keep that mentality that I can't pick up no matter what happens. No matter what news I hear, no matter what I go through, no matter how I feel, no matter how I want to let out to somebody, no matter how I want to say something to somebody, but He don't permit me to do that. And that's the God that I love. You know, He'll just talk it over with me in spirit, and I do just that. So thank y'all so very much. Bless you. May God continue to keep you. and do something nice and kind for someone today. Just for today. Please be nice to people, even the ones who have hurt you. Learn to forgive, learn to pray, and learn to not hold on to the ugly things of the past, and start thanking God for the new presence of change. Thank y'all, and thank you for listening to me. I appreciate y'all, and I appreciate y'all being here for me. And I love all and each and every last one. And do something nice and kind for someone today. Tell them Renee Williams said it, or Mama Tutu. That's what everybody calls me, Mama Tutu. Okay, good night.